YouTube channel. I hope you're all having a lovely day. In today's video, we're going to be doing a mermaid drip cake tutorial with stripy sides, and we're also going to be going through how I make the mermaid tails. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. When I'm making these to go on a cake, obviously I would like them to stand up. So I usually make them around a week in advance, just so they have time to set nice and hard and they're rigid enough so that they'll stand up on your cake. I actually make mermaid tails in two different ways, just depending on the final look that I want to achieve. I do use a silicone mold. You can get these from eBay, Amazon. I think I got mine from eBay. They're really cheap, easy to pick up. This second way of doing them is my favourite and probably the one that I use most often. You're going to begin by dusting the inside of your silicone mould with a little bit of flour. This just helps it not stick and it helps the fondant come out a little bit easier. Taking them out of the moulds can be a little bit fiddly sometimes. They don't always behave themselves and pop out as they should, but be patient, and if you do have a little incident with your mermaid when she comes out, you can tweak them and sort of stick bits back together because they are still really soft and haven't set, so don't panic. And there you have it. They are the two different styles of mermaid tail that I like to do. So we're going to begin by squeezing a small amount of buttercream onto our cake board. This is just to help your cake stick. Just give your cake a gentle press down. Don't squish it around too much because you'll push it out of shape, but you need to make sure it's firmly stuck on there. Next, you're going to pipe your first layer of buttercream. You don't have to do this with a piping bag. You could just spread it out with a palette knife. I just love doing it this way because it helps to get a really even coverage of buttercream on the inside. Once you've got your buttercream spiral, you can then use your palette knife to just gently spread it all around and make sure you've got a good, flat, even layer. Just repeat that step again with your spiral or just with your palette knife, whichever you prefer, and keep layering your cake up. Just gently press each layer of sponge down onto the buttercream. You don't want to press down so hard that you squish them out of shape and you could potentially break your sponge as well. So you need to make sure that they're firmly stuck down and your cake is level, but don't completely squish them. Next, we're going to do the crumb coat layer of the cake. So using your palette knife, just spread buttercream up the sides in a thin layer. Then just spread some buttercream all around the top and make sure you've got a nice flat coverage on top of your cake too. And then we're going to go in with our smooth scraper and take off the layers of excess buttercream round the side. Keep scraping until you've got a lovely, smooth, even coverage all the way around the outside. Next, just go in with your mini palette knife and we're going to scrape off the excess buttercream from around the top of your cake, giving you a nice sharp edge. After you've done this, you can pop the cake in the fridge for 1 to 2 hours. With your cake freshly out the fridge, we can now start the outside layer, and we are going to be doing stripes. Now, there are special scrapers that you can buy to do stripes. I've never actually used one, so I can't say if they make it easier or harder. Probably easier. Put your colours into 2 separate piping bags, and then you're going to go around the edge of your cake, squeezing evenly to create a nice, neat line with each colour. Once you've covered your cake all the way up, it should be looking like a very colourful mummified cake. Then you can do an initial scrape of the outside layer with your cake scraper. After I've done the first scrape, I like to do the coating of buttercream on the top of my cake. Once you've done this, go around again with the scraper as many times as you need until you've got a lovely smooth outside layer. I'm going in with my ridge scraper again, as that's just the look I prefer on all my cakes. Obviously, you could skip this step and just spend a little bit longer getting your outside edge smooth. Once again, just go around the outside with your smaller palette knife and remove the excess buttercream from the top edge of your cake. Then, once you're happy with the outside of your cake, place it in the fridge for around an hour. This cake has a white chocolate drip. In my baking Q&A video, I briefly touched on how I make this, but I use the Sainsbury's Free From white chocolate bar and a dash of soy milk. I heat them very gently on a low heat on the hob and just basically continually stir until I've got a consistency that I'm happy with. Just like with the dark chocolate drip, I'm just going to gently tip it over the edge with my teaspoon. I like to join up all the gaps on my drips. I don't like to leave gaps in between them. This is just personal preference, and everyone will have a slightly different way of doing them and a slightly different look that they prefer too. Now we are on to my absolute favourite part, which is where you get to see the whole cake come together and you just get to play around and be really creative. I'm using a rainbow buttercream here. If you want to see how I make this, I made a video tutorial on this with some rainbow cupcakes, so go and check that video out. And then I'm just going to pipe all around the cake, starting on the outside edge around the board, and then finally working my way up to the top layer. I don't have any set way I do this, I just sort of wing it and just see what looks good. Then you can add on any toppings or decorations that you want to. This was a birthday cake, so I added on a name and an age, some cookie dough balls, and obviously a whole fleet of mermaid tails. I'm not sure what a group of mermaids is called, perhaps I'll look it up. As you can see, I actually added cocktail sticks into the bottom of these just to make them sit on the cake a little bit easier. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope some of it was useful to you or interesting. Let me know what else you want to see. I'm absolutely loving doing YouTube videos for you all, and thank you so much to everyone that's been so supportive. I hope you all have a lovely and safe weekend, and I'll see you soon.